What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made this. Beautiful, delicious, medium rare, crispy, smoky, amazing beef Wellington made entirely on a pellet grill with some pomme puree and, of course, a lovely red wine reduction sauce. Coming up, this is some meat. Pat it dry. And what I've got here is an absolutely beautiful looking Chateaubriand, aka a trimmed up center portion of a beef tenderloin, which is exactly what we need for today. And that's because today I'm going to try and make a classic Christmas Beef Wellington all on a pellet grill. And I've had pretty good luck in the past using my pellet grill as an oven for baking breads and other pastries and things like that, so I don't really see any reason why this wouldn't work. You know, maybe get a little extra smoky flavor on there. But I guess we're going to find out today. And when it comes to beef for your Beef Wellington, we are after the Chateaubriand just like this. And there's two ways to go about it. You could get one like this that's already nicely trimmed up and ready to go straight out of the packaging, or you could buy yourself a whole beef tenderloin. And there's kind of pros and cons to both, because buying a whole beef tenderloin is likely going to be a lot cheaper per pound, but it's a lot bigger, so they're probably around the same price. But you get a bunch of extra meat and extra steaks out of the whole tenderloin. And if you want to know how to break one of those down, you can check out last year's video where I did a smoked tenderloin. That was absolutely fantastic. But if you're not very comfortable with butchery and trimming meat, and an expensive piece of meat at that, you can just get one of these, which will be more per pound, but a lot easier to deal with because there's no trimming. But I leave that to you. If you don't mind doing a little bit of knife work and you want to have some extra steaks on hand, I'd say pick up a whole tenderloin. But if you want to take the easiest route forward, just grab yourself one of these beauties. Beautiful marbling on that. But taking a look at this thing, it looks absolutely beautiful. Lovely color on there, smells great. And I don't think there's any trimming I need to do. And that's because the folks at Porter Road are really good butchers. And I tell you one thing, I'm not mad about the fact that I don't have to take all the silver skin off the top of the barrel of a tenderloin, because that can be pretty tedious. But luckily, they already did that for me. But just giving this a once over, if there's anything weird, I'll zip it off. But honestly, this one looks perfect right out of the gate. So to get this thing prepped up for our Beef Wellington, the first thing I'm going to do is dry brine it overnight. Not an entirely necessary step. I'm sure you could just season this off and get the whole process started. But if you got the time and the foresight, a dry brine is always a good idea. Let that salt really penetrate the entire thing so we got flavor all the way throughout. And also letting it dry in the fridge overnight will help us get a better sear. So simply enough, I'm just going to cover this thing with kosher salt all over. And don't be shy, it's a good sized piece of meat. But I suppose you could go on with your favorite barbecue rub or any seasoning you like at this point. But I'm going to go just salt for now. Don't forget the sides, don't forget the ends, and just get this thing covered. And once thoroughly seasoned, on a wire rack, on a sheet tray, this goes uncovered in the fridge overnight to let that salt start penetrating deep into the meat to make sure it's nice and flavorful. And this video is in fact sponsored by Porter Road. And if you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, you know I'm a big fan of them. I've been cooking their meats for years and they have never steered me wrong because all their meats are just super high quality. You know, all their beef is whole carcass dry aged, which really concentrates the flavor and improves tenderness, but it's not so dry aged that it's got a super funky flavor to it. All their pork is some of the best pork I've ever had. And I've cooked a lot of really good pork in my day, especially working at Leroy and Lewis, and the stuff from Porter Road is right up there with the best I've had. And if all you've ever had is commodity pork from the grocery store, I highly recommend checking out some pork chops or something because the flavor is noticeably better. But Porter Road is an online butcher shop that has all the normal cuts you'd expect to see, like filet mignon and ribeyes and New York strips and things like that. They've also got a lot of the barbecue cuts like brisket, beef ribs, pork ribs, cheeks, you name it. But because they do butcher everything by hand, they've also got a lot of the offcuts like hanger steak, outside skirt, picanhas, oxtail, tongue, you know, the list goes on. So if you're getting tired of cooking all the same cuts all the time, I highly recommend checking them out because they've got a lot of the offcuts that are super fun to play around with. And everything is just butchered so perfectly, just like that Chateaubriand, you know? Every time I get it, the vac seal is perfect, everything comes fresh, not frozen. The marbling is fantastic. And you can tell they genuinely care about doing a great job with the butchery. I'm a big fan of Porter Road. It's just like going to the local butcher shop. Just head on to their website, see what cuts are available, fill up your cart, and they'll ship them right to your door. Super convenient. And if you want to give Porter Road a try for yourself, click my link in the description box down below to save 15% off your first order. Again, link down below to check out Porter Road and get 15% off your first order using my link. Thank you, Porter Road. So to get started on our mushroom Duxelles, I've got a whole bunch of baby bella mushrooms here that I de-stemmed and quartered up to help the blitzing process. So now into the food processor, there you go. And now we're going to pulse this to blitz it all up. And that's kind of the texture we're looking for. Coarse chopped, nothing too fine, but everything is well broken up. So back into the bowl we go. And And then into a pan, we're gonna go in with some butter and get that melting down. And once it's nice and hot and boobly, in we go with 2 diced up shallots. And after frying down for a couple of minutes, these are looking translucent and smelling real good. So now we'll go in with our garlic and cook that down for another minute or 2. And then in we go with all of our finely chopped up mushroom. We'll also go in with a big fat pinch of salt at this point, help draw out some of the moisture. And we're gonna cook this for probably about 10 minutes just to reduce the amount of moisture in these mushrooms. And there certainly is a lot of moisture in here. Freaking boiling mushrooms over here. And after about 10-15 minutes, all the water has cooked out of these. It kind of went from a bubbling sound to a frying sound, which is a good sign. So now I'm gonna hit this with some bourbon for good measure. Oops. Yeah, can you see the flames? A little bit. Well, just deglaze the pot a little bit, cook off all the alcohol, and enjoy the lovely aromas. And then to finish it off, we'll go in with some freshly cracked black pepper, as well as some freshly chopped up thyme. Get that all incorporated, give it a taste for salt, and our lovely Duxelles is done. And checking back in on this beef after an overnight dry brine, it's looking great. Lovely deep red color on there, looking nice and dry to the touch, which will help us get a really good sear. And there is no visible salt, meaning it all went into the meat, which is exactly what we want. But before we go ahead and grill this off, I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of Wagyu beef tallow spray, just to help with the sear and hopefully add a little bit more flavor. Gonna give that a nice little rub until it's tacky. Top and bottom and sides, looking pretty good to me. Let's go ahead and fire up the pit. Boop. Got the old Yoder YS640 here fired up, and it's set up in grill formation, meaning the little baffle tray over the burn pot is removed, and we got these grill grates in, so we can get a good sear on our Chateaubriand. So we're gonna let this heat up for a little bit. And per usual, I've got that thing filled up with Smokin pecan shell pellets, my pellet of choice. They're made out of 100% pecan shells, no wood, no filler additives, anything weird like that. They're the smokiest pellet I've used, and they taste incredible. And if you wanna win a 1-year supply of free pellets from Smokin Pecan, check out my link in the description box down below where you can go to their website and enter to win. Just make sure you tell them that Chuds BBQ sent you, and one of my viewers will win a 1-year supply. That's 12 boxes, 1 box per month. Highly recommend it. And it's now through December 20th, so act fast. Yeah, that's a lot of smoke. It honestly might be too much smoke. Don't think my camera can focus on anything. But now we're gonna go ahead and sear this off. I got the pit set to 450 degrees and it looks pretty ripping hot in there. So on we go. And again, we're not trying to do any cooking really, just trying to brown the exterior, building up a good bark, a good crust, and some lovely flavor. A little extra beef fat, why not? Yeah, that took 1 minute. That's pretty crazy. And after just a couple of minutes, this is looking good. We're gonna sear off the end caps real quick. And then off it comes. And then fresh off the pit, after a lovely sear, we're gonna go ahead and brush that down with some Dijon mustard while it's still ripping hot. Let's get that painted all over. Looking and smelling incredible. I'm also gonna go on with some freshly cracked black pepper at this stage, because why not? Now we can set this aside and let it cool down a little bit. And now it's time to finally start building this Wellington. So I've got 2 sheets of plastic down here, which is a little bit wider than the meat itself. Now we're gonna start laying down some prosciutto, which is really thin and can be kind of a pain in the butt. Right about there, looks good. We wanna have a little excess on the back for wrapping purposes. And we're just gonna shingle these all the way across. A nice double layer for even wrappage. Just gotta kind of eyeball how long this is. But there we go, looking good. And then we can go down with our Duxelles, and it's crazy how much that shrinks up. But this is chilled down, so now we're gonna go ahead and make a nice even layer all the way across, probably about a 1/4 inch thick, kind of pressing and stretching and trying to make it as even as possible. That was the perfect amount, convenient. And now with our mustard log here, we can go down about 1 inch up from the bottom, and it's time to start wrapping this thing up using the plastic wrap to our advantage. We want to try and make this as tight as possible. I should mention, I see a lot of recipes out there that use crepes as well, or crepes instead of this prosciutto, but I don't really think a crepe is necessary. Just a nice tight log and finish the roll, pinching the ends for a nice tight package. And once we've got a nice tight log, I'm gonna pop this in the fridge or the freezer for a little bit to firm up before we move on to the wrapping part with the puff pastry. And speaking of puff pastry, we're gonna get this rolled out. This is some frozen puff pastry. I've had it thawing on my countertop for the last, I don't know, 30 minutes or so. Still very cold, but we can hopefully open this up without it cracking. And now we need to roll this out to make it a little bit thinner, but most importantly, wide enough to roll up and fully encase our little Wellington log. And just like that, that should be wide enough and long enough to get full coverage on this bad boy. And with some more plastic down, we've got our dough down. This is not an easy thing to do outside. But now we can go down with our log, looking beautiful. I'm mildly concerned that I put too much Duxelles in there, but you know what? Either way, I think it's gonna be just fine. So now we go ahead and roll this up just like before. Come over here and zip off any extra from this side. Take that off for a little snack. Gonna go ahead and put a little bit of egg wash down on the seam side here just to make sure everything sticks together. Paint these end caps as well while I'm here. And do our best to seal everything up. Tuck these sides in. Trimming off the extra on the sides here. There we go, that's starting to look pretty good. Come under here and kind of pinch this seam shut. We do want to make sure that that is on the bottom. And now we can roll it up one more time for yet another nice tight little log. Give it the old twisty twisty to make everything nice and tight and nice and uniform. And there we have it, a fully assembled beef Wellington. And now I'm gonna park this in the fridge until I'm ready to cook it, which will probably be in an hour or so. But that's kind of the beauty of a beef Wellington, is we could do all this work the night before. So when it comes time for Christmas dinner, just bust this out and toss it on the pit for a couple hours. Well, probably 45 minutes, but we're gonna let this chill in the fridge until we're ready for it. And while that Wellington chills in the fridge, let's go ahead and make a side dish, because I've always wanted to make some Robuchon pomme puree, which is pretty straightforward but kind of tedious. But I got myself some fingerling potatoes here, and they're going right into a pot, skins and all. And cover those with water. And bring these up to a boil in some salted water and cook them until they are nice and tender. And after about 25 minutes or so, these are probing through nice and tender. So we're gonna pull these out into a colander to drain off any extra liquid. And then we're gonna go ahead and take all the peels off of these. They should come off very easily, which is nice. And you could peel these ahead of time, but you're gonna lose a lot of potato flavor in the water that way. And honestly, this might just be quicker. And I believe this is typically done with a French ret potato, a het potato probably, but I can't find those around here. So these fingerlings are about as close as I can get, but you could also do this with Yukon Golds, probably work just fine with russets. And once they're all peeled, we're gonna go ahead and send them through the old potato ricer, right back into the same pot we just boiled them in, without the water, of course. And now back over the heat, we're gonna start mixing these up and try to cook out any remaining water that might be in them and dry them out just a little bit to help concentrate that potato flavor. And now, why the pomme puree is the most famous mashed potato in the world and served at so many Michelin star restaurants, the aggressive amount of butter. Got 2 or 3 sticks over here all cubed up. These are still cold, and we're gonna start going in maybe 2 or 3 at a time and just kind of folding and letting these kind of emulsify and slowly melt into the potatoes, leaving us with a super fatty, super buttery, creamy mashed potato or pomme puree. So just gonna keep mixing these in until that butter disappears, and then we'll go on with some more. And I'm pretty sure for this dish, you're supposed to do half the weight of the potatoes in butter. So 2 pounds of potatoes, 1 pound of butter. That's what I've got weighed out over here, but not sure if we'll need all of it. But you know what? I'm not afraid of a little bit of butter, but we're just gonna kind of judge this based on consistency. So after adding an ungodly amount of butter, I think I got 2.5 sticks in here. These are looking very good. So now I'm gonna go in with a splash of milk and start whisking that in until we get a really nice, almost pourable texture, really creamy mashed potato. Little by little, maybe half a cup, 1 cup, just kind of going by feel for this one, folks. But these are starting to look super luxurious. I ended up throwing a little bit more butter in here, so all total, we got about 2 pounds of potatoes, 3 sticks of butter, and about 1.5 cups of milk for this lovely, buttery, smooth pomme puree. Go ahead and hit that with a really big pinch of salt. We're gonna taste and adjust for seasoning. And then if you really want to take this to the next level, bust out a sieve. We're simply going to pass all this potato through to make sure it's impossibly smooth. But just look at it, the color of it, so much butter. Oh my God, I'm excited to try this. So now we're just going to press this through, which is going to be a pain in the butt. But you know what? Around the holidays, that's when you bust out these fancy meals. Ooh, that looks so smooth. Ooh. And just like that, pomme puree is done. I'm gonna wrap this up and keep these warm until it's time to serve. And back to our lovely Wellington. This has been chilling in the fridge for the last hour or so. So now it's time to add our lattice on top for some lovely decoration. So I've got 1 more sheet of puff pastry here. And we're gonna roll that out just a little bit. This is still pretty cold, but should be workable. And for this one, we can leave it a little bit thicker because we really just need this to be the same size as our Wellington here, because essentially it's getting draped over the top. I've also got that pellet grill preheating in the background if you couldn't hear that. Got that set to about 415 degrees. We're trying to cook anywhere in the 400 to 420 range. And now we're gonna bust out this lattice roller that I bought a couple years back, and I've used it maybe 3 times, but it's specifically used for this. Simply enough, just gonna take this and roll it down the dough, trying not to get stuck. Oh, good. Beautiful. Go ahead and zip off this excess. That actually looks like it did a pretty decent job, except this is not sharp. It's mostly just a marking tool. So now I'm gonna go through and kind of cut through each one of these marks with a knife, tediously, just to make sure that this does open up and look absolutely beautiful. And now onto a Silpat line baking sheet we go with our lovely Wellington, looking absolutely beautiful all over. So now I'm gonna go ahead and paint this with an egg wash. And this is a yolk heavy egg wash, so I got 3 yolks and a splash of water in there to hopefully help with a really nice dark golden brown color. And we're just gonna get a nice even coat all around this thing. You know, it's very fun making Wellingtons. Everyone talks about how daunting it is, but I quite enjoy the process. But again, I'm the kind of guy that loves a good food project, you know? And now we can try and get our beautiful lattice over the top of this thing, trying to make it look as beautiful as possible. Oh yeah, I've done worse in the past, folks. Make sure that is stuck all the way around. Come over on this side, we'll cut off some of this excess, but just make sure everything is nicely tucked. Egg wash should make everything stick perfectly. And then we'll go ahead and egg wash this one more time, just to make sure that lattice pattern is nicely covered. And just like that, fully egg washed all over. So now we're gonna go ahead and top this with some flaky Maldon salt for a good measure, seasoning and garnish all in one. And now all we gotta do is throw it on the pit. Rocking right at 400 degrees on that little external thermometer I've got on there. And simply enough, on we go. Gonna aim right about there. Probably come through and flip it here and there, but really, I don't know what's gonna happen. So we're just gonna kind of play this by ear. It should only take about probably 30, 40 minutes. And while that cooks away, let's go ahead and whip out a quick sauce for this beef Wellington. Start, I'm going into a pot with 2 cups of beef stock. This is a stock I made in the puree episode from last week. And I'm also gonna go in with some of this turducken stock that I made in the Thanksgiving episode. Basically, we're going to take 4 cups of this stock and reduce it down to 1 cup to make a bit of a demi-glace. And the combinations of the poultry and the beef should be absolutely fantastic. And while that stock reduces, we can go ahead and pull out a frying pan and toss in a couple nubs of some butter. And once that's melted, in we go with a diced up shallot. And once those are nice and soft, starting to take on a little color, we can go in with some garlic and let that cook for a few minutes. And once that smells incredible, in we go with about a cup of red wine. And let that reduce. Also go ahead and throw some rosemary in there as well. Let that give it some good flavor. And once that wine has reduced down and concentrated its flavor, in we go with our reduced stock, which is looking so thick and dark and gelatinous. And once all that has come together, our beautiful sauce is smelling fantastic. So we're gonna kill the heat and go in with a drizzle of some balsamic vinegar, just for a little extra pop, a little bit of brightness, and wonderful flavor. And then we're gonna start chipping in some cold butter, stirring that to emulsify in without breaking the emulsion of the butter, to monter beurre, and finish our sauce. It's amazing how much butter you can add to a dish when you have no regard for your personal health. And once your butter has been stirred in as much or as little as you like, go ahead and give that a quick little taste. Good Lord, that might be the most flavorful thing I've ever had in my life. But it's looking beautiful, nice and thick. Honestly, salt is perfect. That's just pure luxury. So I'm gonna hit this with a few cracks of black pepper and send all that through a strainer. Ooh. This sauce is like 90% of the reason why I make so much stock all the time. It is absolutely incredible. And just like that, after 1 hour on the dot, this beef Wellington is coming off the pit, rocking an internal temperature of about 120 degrees and looking absolutely beautiful. So off this comes, and we're gonna let this rest down for a good 10, 15, 20 minutes. And at long last, I think it is finally time to slice into this beautiful beef Wellington and see how it came out. Feeling hefty, feeling buttery. Really great color on it too, you know? That was the only thing I was a little concerned about by cooking this on a pellet grill was how dark it would get. But honestly, all the way around, that looks beautiful. But, moment of truth, let's go right down the middle, shall we? I get so nervous at this stage. Oh yeah, that looks absolutely beautiful. Nice and juicy. Good medium rare to maybe medium on that. I pulled it off at 120, but maybe it crept up a little bit because it's wrapped up with so much stuff. But you know, I'll eat that any day of the week. But let's go ahead and get a nice slab out of this, shall we? Ooh, that filet just looks so juicy. I know it's a pretty lean piece of meat, but looking absolutely fantastic. And of course, can't forget the mashed potatoes, or the pomme puree over here, looking incredible. Top those with a little bit of freshly cut chives grown in my own garden. And by garden, I mean pot of singular chives. And there we go. Gotta say, folks, not a bad spread. Some buttery, creamy mashed potatoes, a lovely golden brown beef Wellington with the Duxelles, all smoked on a pellet grill with a lovely sauce. I'm ready to dive on in and see how this came out. But first, a little oops. Oh no. Let's get that everywhere. All right, now I'm ready. I know we're not usually a knife and fork kind of a place, but with a meal this civilized. A beautiful bite with some lovely buttery puff pastry. Got a little jus on there and some meat. That's a big bite. We'll see what happens. Good Lord. Oh my goodness. I need to take a minute. That is so unbelievably flavorful. So tender, perfectly seasoned. That sauce brings so much umami and richness. Puff pastry is cooked perfectly. Good amount of Duxelles on there. That's probably also adding to the umami factor, but not too much. And you know, everything kind of came out according to plan, which is great because I was getting a little nervous during this one. But right off the bat, I gotta go back for another bite. God, that beef is just so good. I mean, it's beef Wellington. What do you want me to say? It's a perfect food. There's just so many flavors going on. A little bit of a sweet bourbon note from that Duxelles. The buttery, fluffy pastry. That beef is just so tender, so flavorful. Got some notes of thyme in there as well. Oh my goodness. This is just luxurious, to say the least. I mean, just that beef alone is so good. Oh, that's incredible. And of course, you cannot forget about the lovely, buttery pomme puree. Oh my goodness. That should be illegal. It's just so buttery and luxurious. So smooth, too. A lot of pomme purees I've seen are a little bit looser than this one. It's kind of bridging the gap between pomme puree and regular mashed potatoes. Oh, which is so damn tasty. All right, I can't eat all of this by myself. Ladies,
yes.
Can I interest you in some beef Wellington and some pomme puree?
Yes. Oh, it looks so good. Look
Dive
at that.
on in.
Look at that lattice. I think
Wow.
I've only ever had one Wellington in my life.
Really?
I had never had it before I
Vegas.
met Brad.
This is a Robinson household staple around Christmas time.
You had a beef Wellington in Vegas.
Yeah, some like fancy restaurant.
There's also some incredibly flavorful
Oh my
jus.
gosh, my mouth is a
If you want a little
My mouth is
dippage.
watering too. Get in there.
Holy mother. Dang, Brad. This might be the best thing I've ever eaten from
Right?
you.
It's hard to beat a Wellington, right?
Oh my god, yeah.
It's so tender.
It is really tender. I could cut this with a knife. Or with a
Yeah,
fork.
I didn't need a knife.
Good.
Cut this with a knife. Holy cow.
Freaking
Should I do the
yum.
gravy? I don't even know
It's
if
intense.
it needs it.
It's not a gravy necessarily. It's more of a jus, so
I'm just gonna
It adds a
splash some
pop.
here.
packed with flavor.
We'll see.
Is that what you have here? Okay.
Oh my gosh.
It's so good.
This is so good. What are the potatoes again? Pommes?
Pomme puree. So, yeah, so these are just some incredibly buttery,
They're so good.
just
Yeah.
very smooth mashed potatoes.
It's so good.
The
Why is
pommes
it so tender?
Well, it's a tenderloin.
Tenderloin.
I
Love.
mean, just look at that. Look at that beautiful bite. It's incredibly tender. It does have a smokiness to it, but nothing that's, gonna
No, it's
offend
not.
anybody.
No. And this is like exactly how I like my steak. Like a little pink, not too bloody.
We're definitely leaning a little bit more medium, but if you look at that, I mean, it's so
I mean,
tender.
that's the softest medium I've ever had in my
Yeah.
life.
Oh my god.
Dude, I don't even have like words to. I don't.
No,
The
this
sauce
pomme
is
puree
good.
is like buttered air.
For the amount of butter I put in it, it's not nearly as heavy as I was expecting. It's 2 pounds of potatoes and like 3 sticks of butter.
I'm just standing here like with my hands.
She's verklempt.
I don't know what to do.
Oh my gosh, that jus is so thick.
It's really good. Okay.
This is truly a luxurious meal. Best saved for, one time a year.
Yeah.
But damn.
Yeah, that jus is really good. It adds like a dimension.
So for Brooke's birthday, I wanted you to make a beef Wellington, and then I wasn't gonna ask you for my birthday, but I guess you technically made me a beef Wellington.
Yeah, here you go. Couple weeks late, but here it is. This
I'm
is
a little
so good.
piggy.
I'm gonna need more.
Well, there's plenty of it.
I can't believe I'm downing this whole thing. I was like, there's no way.
I was cutting a Brad-sized slice, and then I remembered that it's you, and you're probably not going to eat all that meat, but you almost ate the whole thing.
Surprise.
That might be the most tender fillet that I've ever had.
It really is like
It's ridiculous.
It's so good.
the softest.
Yeah.
Did you do something different or?
Well, it's from Porter Road, so it's been dry aged a little bit, so that might help with the tenderness. But
Yeah.
It tastes like London. Is this an English meal?
oh yeah, this is Gordon Ramsay's favorite thing.
Oh really?
Wellington's English? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it tastes like the pies I had there. Also on
That
my
makes sense.
birthday.
Yeah.
Man, I want more, but I'm feeling it already.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
just
I'm
thinking the
gonna-
same thing. It's like what Brooke said in a couple videos ago. I'm having a flavor addiction.
It's so good. I feel it in my belly already.
Yeah, these mashed potatoes will weigh you down.
I can't stop.
Maybe I can just take a little, Brad.
You want another slab?
I just want to take like this much home.
Actually, I'm going out of town tomorrow, so you can have that whole half if you want.
Okay, I'll eat
I can't eat
it.
all this by myself.
Dude, that's heavy.
I was feeling really good during the first half of that slice, and now I'm just like, all right, where's that couch again?
Look at my potato dish. It's empty.
Oh my gosh, I only want to come for holiday meals now.
Yeah, they are not the easiest thing to make, but they certainly pay off.
Yeah, you missed the turducken.
No, I was here for the turducken.
Oh.
It was so good. I ate it for 2 more days. This is the photo I sent you.
Oh, nice.
Hand-drawn hearts.
On a paper plate. My beautiful piece of turducken. Yes, I ate a turducken in bed.
We're gonna get a picture later of her just
Of the
gnawing.
beef Wellington.
Yeah, gnawing, getting a slice and just eating it like a loaf of bread. I think I need to take a little nap before we close this one
to
out.
try some.
And with this very last dipped piece of filet mignon, I think it's time for the official taste test. All right, y'all, and that is it. That is how to make an absolutely incredible beef Wellington smoked on a pellet grill. I highly recommend giving this one a try. You know, I know it seems intimidating, like a lot of steps and a really easy thing to mess up. And there are a few different steps, but all of them are incredibly easy. And this is a pretty approachable thing to do. And also, when you pull that thing out of the oven, you're gonna wow everybody. And then when they taste it, you're gonna be the hero of the night, for sure, because it really is an incredible meal. So luxurious, so tasty, and legit, I'm super sleepy after eating that. So good. But the real question is, will I do this on a pellet grill again? And the answer is maybe. You know, the smoky factor didn't really make or break this dish. I think I'd be a little bit more confident in an oven that's a little bit more stable in temperature. But the holidays can get pretty busy, so if your oven is full of sides or you're baking pies or other things, the pellet grill makes for a great option. And it's a convenient way to be outside drinking beer. But also, this one had a lot more gray banding to the meat. And I'm not sure if that's from the searing process or the smoking process, but I was hoping for a little bit more edge to edge. But I don't know if I can attribute that to the pellet grill or just the cook or the piece of meat or anything else like that. But regardless, it was absolutely fantastic, incredibly juicy, incredibly tender, and so flavorful, and definitely something I'll be making again, probably next year. But all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that subscribe button. Let YouTube know by dropping a like on this video. If you give this recipe a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I'd love to see what y'all are cooking. Big shout out to all the Team Chud members. Thank you for supporting this channel and allowing me to keep making all these videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace.